David Aylor is joining us this morning to talk about the basic child custody and visitation laws in South Carolina. Let's first talk about, again, the basics. A lot of times that's the mother has custody, the father sees the child every other weekend, and then they work out some other things.
Right, you have some standards that you often see set up by the courts or sometimes agreed to by consent, but probably the most important thing that people going through this need to understand is that you do want to get that court order, and there's two ways that can happen. Either one, you and the other parent can come into an agreement, usually put in place with a lawyer. You don't have to have a lawyer, but usually it's more important to get it done that way, and then that gets signed by a judge, and that starts with a temporary order. So that would set up whatever custody arrangement you may have. However, obviously there's times where parents are not in agreement with what the visitation and custody should be. That then goes to court. Each side makes an argument, usually through their counsel, and then a judge comes back and then sets up temporary order. But without the order, whether it be one that's came by consent or one that the judge actually has to come up with after a hearing, you don't have the power to determine whether one parent should have the child over another, and there's no way to enforce it.
Let's say it goes through for about a year, and let's just say, hypothetically, the father doesn't like the way the mother is treating the child, or vice versa. Can either one contest what is going on with the custody at the time?
Absolutely. You can always go back, and usually a lot of times the way they go back and is heard again is if you have an issue like if one parent exactly feels like that the other parent is somehow violating the court order. So then they want to go back to the court and bring it in front of a judge, showing that, hey, this parent is in contempt because, you know, I'm supposed to get the child on this day, or the child's not supposed to be exposed to this person, or you know, alcohol or drugs, whatever it may be, and then it goes back in front of a judge, and judge can obviously change it one way or the other.
A lot of factors can fall into place. What if the husband and wife cannot come up with an agreement, the lawyers cannot come up with an agreement? I mean, there's a lot of pulling back and forth on both sides. How does the judge determine where the custody goes, where the child or children have, who has the custody of the children, and the possibility of child support as well? I know that gets into a little bit different factors.
Right. Unfortunately, you do have that happen. Obviously, on the front end, it's just a temporary order. But if you're getting to a place, let's say at an end of a divorce or just getting a final order, even if the parents weren't married and they can't come to an agreement, mediation can't bring them to an agreement, then basically what happens is a full-blown trial in front of the judge, bringing up the different factors of each parent. They can bring in whatever type of evidence that they want to show while it's more relevant to the way they want the custody agreement to be. But there's a number of different factors the judge is going to look at. He's going to look at, most importantly, you know, stability for the children, what was in the best interest of the children. A lot of times in those situations, the children will have a guardian ad litem, which, for lack of a better way to put it, is the lawyer for the children who is working on behalf of the children. So that also comes into play, and a guardian ad litem would testify at the trial saying, here's what I think about mom's home, here's what I think about dad's home, here's what I think about this school, that type of thing.
A witness can come in
as
well?
Absolutely. Witnesses can come in. You know, dad brings the child to school every day, mom does this, whatever it may be, you know, to play it either the good or bad. Unfortunately, it can get a little bit distracting probably from a standpoint of a judge because they're hearing so many things. But in the end, a judge's job and what they know to do is look out for the children in the best way.
Best way, of course, to look out for the benefit of the children.
Right.
Try to be nice to each other and settle things before you go to court.
Yeah, and a lot of times, fortunately, that does happen with mediation and things like that. So there are ways that they get to a better resolution, and of course, the children are the ones that suffer the least at that point.
Yeah, right on. Thank you so much, Dave.
Thanks for having me.
We're back with more Baby Week on Lowcountry Live right after this break.